evening, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I am Sean Butler. Bugsy Malone's up in front. It is Sunday evening. How are you? I hope you're all happy and healthy, doing the things you love with those that you love doing them with. Please do me a favor, guys. Smash the like button for me on the video if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button. And of course, also hit the notification bell and drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this evening's video, which is a massive one. Here we go. Out of nowhere. Manor Solomon. Fulham loanee, currently or has been plying his trade from Shakhtar Donetsk. You might remember this story from a couple of months ago. He was linked with Tottenham and the Shakhtar Donetsk CEO came out and said, if Tottenham or any other club try and sign this guy on a free transfer, we will sue them, we will litigate. Of course, that is what has happened. A free transfer because of Annex 7 in the FIFA footballing regulations around transfers that allows a player who is foreign and who plays for a football club in a country that is at war has the ability to suspend or cancel their contracts. That is what Manor Solomon's done, and Tottenham Hotspur are the beneficiary. And we are going to talk all about it. Fulham must be absolutely devastated. They were looking to keep him. He has scored 4 goals for Fulham this season. The Israeli 23-year-old international that sits out on the left-hand side. A very clever, tricky, technical player, likes to take players on, likes to cut inside, very strong on his right foot, has only really played about 550 odd minutes, about 5 games of football, if you add all those minutes up, for the entirety of the 22-23 season. He missed basically the entirety of the first half of the season, having undergone knee surgery, and then came back in around January, and obviously was used interchangeably, but offered a lot. He went through a very, very interesting spell where I think he scored all 4 of his goals in a few games. Look, I like the player. It's a very interesting one with regards to the economics. I did speak about Harvey Barnes and the rumour, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that the Daily Express had put out that Harvey Barnes was close. He had chosen Tottenham and that he was likely to become Tottenham's or Ange Postecoglou's 4th signing. I said in that video that whilst I really like Harvey Barnes as a footballer, to spend 25, 30, 35 million, whatever Leicester would want on him, would make not an incredible amount of sense to me because of the predictably smaller amount of minutes than he would hope to get elsewhere. And because of that large chunk of the transfer budget that it would take up, I think it was on yesterday's video where I said, I would rather Tottenham were looking elsewhere. There's other names out there that maybe Tottenham can find a little bit more logic. And I mentioned Manor Solomon, and 24 hours later, he is the player that Tottenham have gone for. Do I prefer Manor Solomon to Harvey Barnes as a player? Absolutely not. Harvey Barnes has done it for far more, with a higher frequency, far more regularity for Leicester. That's not to say that Manor Solomon is not a bad player. He's a very talented, tricky player. And if you look at the stats on FB Refs, and I will get them up so you can see them. I haven't got them in front of me, so I might get some of these wrong, but these are on a per 90 minutes basis. So you are going to have to kind of conflate some of these together and understand that these numbers will be squished over a majority of games because he hasn't played that many minutes. But in terms of things like his goals to shot ratio conversions are incredibly high. His ability to take players on and dribble, his passing is very good. But also the things that you might like to see from a forward who's asked to do a lot of pressing, his defensive work and his work rate, and the things that you'll see him doing, tackling in the midfield third, tackling in the high end, interceptions, blocks, passes, interceptions that are right up at the top end of the pitch. All of those statistics are in the top 4 or 5 percentile for players that are in the top 5 leagues that are wingers or wide midfielders or inside forwards. He's technically being compared to against midfielders and wingers rather than forwards. That is kind of how I would see him being used more for Tottenham. Look, I think he makes a lot of sense. Am I overwhelmed by it? Absolutely not. I think he's a good player. Like I said, I don't want to repeat myself, but He doesn't excite me too much. I think he'll be a useful squad player. Where I do think it makes a lot of sense, of course, is that we're not spending any money on him. We might be spending a lot more money on the lawyers preparing for a court case with Shakhtar Donetsk. But let's presume that there's no problems with the contracts and the rule is the rule. And Daniel Levy and Tottenham have just been very clever in identifying a player that is worth maybe 15 or 20 million pounds and got him for free. If we had to have paid 20 million or 25 million for him, I would be very underwhelmed and say I'm not really on board it. But I am on board this one because I think, A, he's a sort of player that can offer a lot of support to the front line. I think that because of the work rate that is required of Ange Postecoglou's system, there's going to be a lot more rotation than there was under Conte. So I think he will see enough minutes to keep him busy. He is very, very clever with his right foot, and crossing or shooting seems to come naturally to him off the right-hand side, which does again suit the Ange system. Where I want to pivot now is to think about the money that we're saving and not spending it on 30 million. And does that have any real impact or benefit to other things that are going on? And there's other tweets out today from Fabrizio Romano, I'll put it on the screen right now, that says that Tottenham are hopeful of completing the signing of both Mickey van der Ven and Edmund Tapsoba. And that is what I want to hear. If we can get both of those done, and that is in no small part because we've saved money by going after Manor Solomon, then everything is starting to heat up and look fantastic for Tottenham. Do I think Solomon's going to set the world alight? Probably not. Do I think he can offer a lot of value to the club and chip in with a couple of goals here and there? Maybe if we can get 6 or 7 goals out of him over a full season, if he can stay fit. There's a big question mark over that, having had major surgery on his knee last year. But as a player, I think he offers a little bit something different that Sonny does. He probably works harder off the ball than Heung-min Son is naturally known for doing. And as I said now 2 or 3 times, I think that it does make sense from the expectations of the wide men in the forward roles. And if we can get him done for free and then take that saving and go and complete the signings for Edmund Tapsoba and Mickey van der Ven, then guys, what a start to the transfer window we've had. That will be 6 players in. Vicario, a goalkeeper that will hopefully hit the ground running and be absolutely everything we need to replace Hugo Lloris for the long term. We'll have 2 new centre-backs, one of whom can fill in the left-back spot. We've also got, of course, Destiny Udogie, who we're going to be thinking of as a new signing this summer. I personally think that Bissouma, I'm going to be treating him as a new signing this summer. Pedro Porro has also been officially that transfer completed today, according to Fabrizio Romano. Of course, it was just a formality. Everything had to be done, but the kind of making that whole thing official, the I's and the T's, allegedly has been done, although there's no official confirmation from the club. We know we've made Decky confirmed as well. And then to bring in James Maddison and Manor Solomon, if we can get those 6 done, I wouldn't be too greedy to ask for any more. In an ideal situation, I still think Tottenham really do need another midfielder. In an ideal world, I'd love that to be someone like João Palhinha or Sofiane Amrabat or Frank Kessie. There's also a bunch of other players that we could be looking at as well. You know, there's players like Marcel Sabitzer out there that allegedly Bayern Munich only want about £14 million for. And if that's true, I think there's so much value in him. I don't know if he would want to come to Tottenham and whether or not, you know, how well he would fit in. But as a player at a certain valuation, there's absolute sense there and logic to me. As I say, for the 6, there's a whole bunch of other players that we can go through, and we will be looking at the Wire Scout tool and talking about them over the next week or so. But if we can get Van der Ven and Tapsoba done before we go away on pre-season training, then I've got to be honest, it will be just an absolute whirlwind of an opening start to the window to get those 6 done. As it is, to get 4 done thus far is brilliant. I'm very impressed. I'm very happy to see it. But at the moment, everything doesn't feel easy until we've got those centre-backs in. Let me know your thoughts, guys, about Manor Solomon. Are you excited about him? Did you want someone else instead? Did you want someone like Harvey Barnes? Were you looking elsewhere? What does this mean for Brian Hill? Is Brian Hill going to be shipped back out on loan? You know, because if he is going to be played on the wide side, it will be probably on the left. So what does that mean for Manor Solomon, who does traditionally play on the left, but has got the ability to play on the right? You can certainly invert him because of the strength of his right foot. So to me, it does ask a little bit of more questions around what's going to happen with Brian Hill and what's going to happen with regards the other side of the pitch. Is Solomon going to be coming in used as a utility, or do we still need somebody else to come in and help Decky out on the right side? If that is the case, then do we presume that Pedro Porro is going to be competing with Emerson at the right back spot? You know how I feel about that. There's question marks there. There's still a lot of question marks, guys, but for our fourth signing, as a freebie, Manor Solomon, as a player, he's very, very good. If we'd had to have paid 25 or 30 million for him, I wouldn't have been particularly happy. But to get him for free makes so much economical sense. And hopefully we can spend this money now and get those other 2 deals done. And Tottenham are cooking. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, bye-bye.